All right, let's go ahead and get going. Excited for the Aligned Habits workshop. This is great. The Aligned Habits workshop is actually the first workshop that we did. We started uh, a while ago and love doing it. If you participated, we've added a few other workshops recently. So I want to mention a couple things as we get going. First, uh, feel free to share. This is time for you to share and time for you to learn and to grow and for us to give feedback to each other. So don't hesitate to share, put things in the chat, or if you want to, you can put anything. You can raise your hand. You can come off of mute. We can talk about it. Feel free to, be on camera or, shout things out as you see them. If you're shouting too much, we'll put you on mute. But anyway, feel free to share. Yeah, you can put things in the chat or, come off mute and join us. Um, Now, before we get going, I just want to start with a question. We'll do our grounding exercise as we usually do to get everyone fully present. But I want to ask you a question. And that is, what's one habit that you wish you could stick to that would change your life? What's one habit you wish you could stick to that would change your life? And again, you can put that into the chat. Uh, Let me open mine. I'll share as well. Yeah, setting a routine. Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely help you with setting routine today, Rachel. And procrastination. Uh, yeah, we don't talk about procrastination as much in this workshop, but we do in another workshop in overcoming procrastination. Yes, Chad, certainly going to bed early really change your energy level. Yeah, it has for me. I try to get to bed by 10. Doesn't always happen. I'm trying to get back in that routine after a few chaotic weeks. Trying to get the kids and everyone to bed earlier. Uh, yeah, I guess for me, it's exercise and yoga. I find sticking to that is when I really operate at my best. And it's really helpful when I'm able to do that. I'm actually a certified yoga instructor. So, I teach a class on Saturdays, yin yoga, which is very meditative yoga. But the more that I'm able to stick to getting regular exercise or getting to yoga really helps me, being in peak shape as well as um, operate my best. Steve, consistent sleep schedule and eliminate sugars. Yeah, I mean, a lot of ours, are around, exercise, diet, certainly habits, procrastination, getting to bed earlier, and setting a routine. So, I mean, those are all ones that help us thrive and operate at our best. Now, I appreciate everyone sharing. Thank you so much for providing those. And that's exactly what we want to do during today's workshop is share together, learn together, and grow. As we continue now, I want to get us all fully present here. So we've shared a little bit. I want to take a moment to get fully grounded and present here. And that means, not checking phone and email and text and social media. Take just a moment to be fully present. And it's not just here, it's really anywhere you are, but this is something we can do right now together. And that is uh, close your eyes or bring your gaze down low if closing your eyes isn't comfortable for you. And we're just going to take, 2 minutes here and 2 minutes of mindfulness, just mindfully breathing, noticing your breath. If you can, breathe in and out through your nose, feeling the air coming in and going out. Just an inhale followed by an exhale. Noticing the rising and lowering of the belly or expanding and contracting of the chest. You really want to let any thoughts go and try to stay focused on the breath. When you're focused on your breath, you're able to be fully present. That focusing on the breath keeps you from all the distractions. It allows you to be fully present because you're not worried about the past or the future. You're just fully present, noticing your breath, being alive, being here now. Notice your breath. Let me give you, 30 seconds to a minute to just focus on the breath, breathing in and breathing out. You may notice the air coming in and out through your nostrils, or maybe even just that little space between the bottom of your nose and the top of your lip, just focusing on your breath. Let any thoughts that come in just go by like clouds passing through the sky. Just focus on your breath. Be here now. Once you're feeling fully present here and probably a lot calmer after noticing the breath for a minute, let's get rid of any negative energy that's inside and get rid of any stale air in the bottom of our lungs. So we're going to do that by taking 3 deep breaths. We're going to breathe in deeply through your nose, and then you're going to sigh it out through your mouth. So we're going to take a deep breath in and hold it at the top, and then sigh it out. All right, 2 more. And take a deep breath in and hold it and sigh it out. And last one. Deep breath in through the nose, take in little sips of air as much as you can, deep down into your belly, into the bottom of your lungs. Deep breath in and hold it. And then let it all go. Let anything go that's been holding you back. It's time now for us to work on aligning our purpose in life, our true self, with our goals, our short and long-term goals, and then our habits to help make realizing those goals inevitable. So if you've struggled to stay consistent, and here we are, almost 6 weeks in to 2026, and a lot of people have already let their goals fall by or accepted that their goals may not happen. And we're going to provide you a lot of resources during the workshop. And you don't feel like you need to, right away, meaning scribble away madly to capture all this, because we're going to make all of these resources, we're going to make the recording from today available to you. We're going to send out a recap email later today or maybe sometime tomorrow that's going to have in it resources like our habit tracker worksheet, our epic daily routine checklist, the true goals worksheet that we're going to go through today as well. And you're going to get these. So just be fully present here. And, in that true goals worksheet, it's a great way. If you didn't do it at the beginning of the year, now is a wonderful time to set your goals for 2026, as well as for the quarter. We're almost halfway through the first quarter. Never a better time than today to start over and set your goals for the year, for the quarter, for this month, and to keep going in a way that's aligned with your true self. So if you struggle to stay consistent, even in setting your goals at the beginning of the year, it's not that you're falling short in life. You may have just been trying to force a version of success that wasn't aligned with who you truly are. So today we're going to reset that and we're going to rebuild from your true self. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover first, why most goals fail. Second, how to set the right goals. Third, how to build supportive habits, meaning habits that help support you in achieving your goals. And lastly, how to get back up when life throws you off, or how to build resiliency. So we're going to work on those today, and we're going to touch a little bit in each section, and we're going to have some cool exercises that help you achieve each of those areas. How to stay on track and how to build your habits and your goals. So all of this takes desire, though. And you got to have a desire to live as your true self, to achieve your goals. So I love this quote by Napoleon Hill, who said, "Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not a hope, not a wish, but a keen, pulsating desire that transcends everything." So if you have a desire to make 2026 your best year yet, and move past all that's held you back in the past, held you back from living in complete happiness and bliss, then we're going to turn that desire into action. We're going to mold that burning desire for love, happiness, and success into real action you can take today to live the life of your dreams. We're going to do this by aligning your habits with your dreams. So, how do I know this works? I know this works because I've done it over the last 8 years. It took me a ton of trial and error and learning to get to a point where my big goals and my daily habits are aligned so that I can live the life of my dreams every day. And with 7 kids ranging from 4 to 17 and running 2 businesses, I have to be focused and disciplined to ensure that we can live happily and productive, meaning happy and productive lives. So I'm going to save you the years worth of learning and mistakes that I made to help you become who you're meant to be, to live the life of your dreams. So if that's something you want to do, and you can live that life of your dreams starting now, if that sounds good, yeah, let's go ahead and get going. And don't worry, this isn't all that hard. It just requires a system that works for you. So first, we're going to start by, discussing things that might not have worked. And then we're going to give you the solutions to make them work in the future. So first, we want to cover why goals fail. And the reason we're talking about goals at the beginning of a habits workshop is because you have to have habits that are aligned with your goals. You don't want to just implement some habits for no reason. You want to have a reason, a purpose for living as your true self. So at the beginning of last year, 2025, we held this great 8-week course called Thrive in 25. We're actually going to do, it was so popular, we didn't really plan on doing it again, but I think we're going to do another Thrive in 26 course sometime later this year. I'm not sure when, but we started the year off right last year in 25. This year we did a bunch of these Aligned Habits workshop, but we did the Aligned New Year's workshop. So at the start of that 8-week course, I shared the statistic that less than 9% of adults achieve one New Year's goal, meaning 91% of adults who set goals reach 0 of them. So some of the common reasons that goals don't stick. I mean, how sad is that? And that's of the people who actually set goals. 91% don't achieve them. There are also all the people who don't even set goals. So some of the common reasons that goals don't stick is first, an unclear vision. Second, external pressure, or think of that as distractions or other things come up that take you from your goals. Third, excuse me, an unrealistic pace, meaning you're trying to achieve a goal in a time frame that is just not possible. You're never going to be able to do it, so you set yourself up for failure. Next, a lack of identity alignment, or meaning the goal is not aligned with your true self. And that may be one of the most important ones, and that's what we walk people through in our True Self project, is living your life on purpose. So you're living as who you're meant to be. It's tough to set goals if they're not aligned with your true self. You're not going to achieve them. They're going to fail if they're not aligned with who you're meant to be. Now, you're going to hear a lot of quotes here. We'll show some of them up on the screen, but I really like quotes, and they've helped, center me and provide me with some inspiration. So here's a good one by Robert Brault, who said, "We're kept from our goal not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a lesser goal." We're always taking detours and getting off the highway to our dreams, not because it's too hard or too far, but because we're distracted by what's right in front of us. Just scrolling through the news or social media get you to your goal faster. No, it fills your brain with negative inputs of others, wastes your time, and takes your mind off what matters most. Like these folks here were distracted. These folks here in this picture were on their way to the summit of a mountaintop. But they saw a sign that said great view over here. So they rushed over there, and yeah, it's a great view from there. But these folks actually got to their goal. They hiked to the summit. The view is much better from the summit than it is from the place the others just went off to get distracted, where there is a great view, but it's not reaching the goal. It's not getting to the summit. Our addictions to the phone, alcohol, drugs, and negative news stream keep us distracted from our goals. And the distractions take us from what matters most, from our dreams and from our loved ones. Blaise Pascal, the famous French inventor and mathematician, said, "Distraction is the only thing that consoles us from our miseries, and yet it is itself the greatest of our miseries." Distraction is the greatest of our miseries. That's why we found that this resonated with people so much that we started a new workshop, the Focused and Free workshop. It's called Focused and Free, Break the Distraction Cycle. And we put a bunch of time, research, and resources into helping folks break that distraction cycle. And we actually have, I got to check, give me a minute. I think we're doing another Focused and Free workshop. Yeah, next week, next Thursday on the 19th. So if you haven't done that workshop, by all means, join us for that. It's great. We focus solely on eliminating distractions to stay focused and free on your goals. So even if you're not distracted by all the modern distractions in life, many of us are kept from our real goal by that clear path to a lesser goal. Those lesser goals, all those little things that pop up that we say, hey, I can just jump on this. And then we get distracted and we leave our big goals behind for those clear path to lesser goals. Now, there's also goals that aren't aligned with our true self or our purpose. But misaligned goals create confusion, anxiety, and burnout. That's why so many seemingly successful people are not happy. They may be achieving personal and work success or professional success, but they are accomplishing just small daily tasks. And inside, they're unhappy because they're not aligning their daily habits with their big goals. They're just going through the motions, just stuck on the hamster wheel. That creates confusion and leads to burnout. You go one way when your true self knows you need to go another, and it creates anxiety and confusion. But clarity brings confidence, and confidence is contagious. We're going to help you find that clarity today. We're going to start by setting your purpose or your why, and then narrowing in on what your true self is supposed to be doing, and then heading to goals and habits to help implement those goals. Now, another reason that goals fail, even if they are clear, is that the clear goal, like I said, may not be aligned with your true self. We all have a small voice within that speaks to us about wanting an amazing life, nudges us to our personal and professional dreams, and clamors for love and happiness. I want you to give a megaphone to that small voice within. That's your true self and your higher power directing you where to go. When you listen to your inner voice, you are aligned and living on purpose. When you're clear on your goals and they're aligned with your true self, you can live the life of your dreams. This alignment brings excitement and confidence. And like I said, confidence is contagious. You bring that into your everyday, and as you move towards your goals, that alignment brings excitement. Now, I want you to take just a moment here and get out your journal or your pen, piece of paper, and think of a goal that you set in the past but didn't reach. What do you think really got in the way? And it could be one of these, it may be something else. Whether it's unclear vision, distractions, or external pressure, unrealistic pace, or lack of alignment, meaning lack of alignment with your true self.
Or just now, because it's not here.
Yeah, take just a moment and consider those. And you'll say, I'll give you maybe 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. Just think, what are goals you set in the past but didn't reach? And which of these or even other reasons do you think got in the way? For some folks, something comes up that takes us from our goals. And at the end, we're going to talk about getting back up when life knocks you off or something that gets in the way of achieving your goals. So take just a moment and feel free to share those as well. I'll give you like 2 minutes right now. Think of goals you set in the past but didn't reach. And what do you think got in the way? All right, let's get back here. If you want to share these, feel free to share. Um, yeah, ex-smoker. Yeah, quitting smoking. Yeah, I mean it's complicated. I struggled with that for a long time as well. Oh, Jim, you got to publish your music. Got to publish your music. You can't. You gotta let your song out. Gotta let your music out. I have no musical ability at all, but distraction, no clear immediate goals. Yeah, Jim, you gotta let it out. There's a great speech by Les Brown. If you look this up, maybe search it, Les Brown. Um, you know, his point is don't die with your song still inside you. That was your song to sing or your song to publish and get out into the world. You can't let your book stay within you. You got to publish it or your music or whatever it is. You got to get it out into the world because no one else was meant to write that music other than you. Look it up, Les Brown. Yeah, it's about a clip about it's amazing about you know, don't die with your song still inside you. Whatever that is you're meant to do in life, you got to let it out. That is for you to do. God gave you that music to publish. It didn't get written by anyone else other than you. You got to let it out. Uh, yeah, I mean, for me, goal that I've had, a number of goals that I've thought of before of us as I've taught these workshops. Um, I guess a big one I've talked about before is unrealistic pace. I mean, we had started a company to provide, off grid, be a utility alternative, and meaning solar and battery storage and generator for the home. And it was an unrealistic pace. We were just trying to accomplish too much without even the market necessarily being ready. So like it was a great idea. And I also, the more I think about it too, it was probably lack of identity alignment as well. Um, it was something I knew kind of how to do, but not exactly what I was meant to do. And so that was in there as well. And just, It was something I set as a goal, but it wasn't realistic to achieve that, without any means of being able to do that. Um, Stephen, reading daily. Yeah, fixed sleep. We're going to talk about sleep. I do talk about sleep a lot, um, and journaling as well. A lot of this stuff, uh, uh, yeah, doing that, but mainly needing to find a way to keep secure. Three or four of my adult kids are overly curious. Yeah, I don't know. I leave my journal sitting out on my desk. I used to feel so nervous someone might read it, and after a while, I was just like, screw it. My wife or kids read this. I think I've had journals around enough long enough they don't even pick them up or look at them anymore, but who knows. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if you need that level of security, think about it. There is a great journal that someone shared with me on one of these workshops. It was very expensive. It was like $600-700, I think. So I didn't buy it, but um, it's like a tablet, almost like a Kindle or something that you can journal on, and you can write on it and it'll save those. I like the fact that it saves it and you could, look at it or search it. That's a great way. Um, and reading daily, I gotta say too, the falling asleep always an issue for me as well. When once I start reading, I just start dozing off. Um, but uh, I'll tell you, it's good to read physical versions. I mean, I have books, I have books all over the place here on my desk. I have lots of different books I'm reading, ton of books right here. But I usually read a little bit. But for honestly getting through a ton of content, I've been listening to Audible. I mean, I can do it in the car. I listen to a ton of books. I've absorbed obscene amounts of information over the last 7 or 8 years since I've been using Audible. If you don't, it's a great way. Yeah, Alexander, it rocks. It really does make a difference. For me, it's made a world of difference. I've accessed tons of information and inspiring content and books that have changed my life, literally changed my life. Wayne Dyer's Power of Intention was the probably one of the first books on Audible I listened to that absolutely changed my life. Um, yeah, and I'm with you, Alexander. I do listen to music that inspires me. I listen to a lot of meditative music, a lot of, as my kids call it, hippie music or um, stuff that's you know, meditation or yoga music and stuff like that. My kids make fun of me. But they're actually used to listening to it because I have it playing in the car so much. But yeah, Audible is absolutely wonderful. So yeah, Steve, I get you on those habits, and I write a lot about it on my book. I think on our website, I probably have some articles posted about journaling, not necessarily about reading, but I certainly do about journaling. And yeah, Chad, Audible is absolutely great. If you drive, yeah, if you're in the car, it's a big help. Or even, if you listen on your phone while you're doing other stuff. Um, but yeah, got to publish that music. Uh, Jim, got to publish that music. All right. Uh, is fingerstyle guitar. That's great. I mean, you have I don't know. I mean, it sounds like you write, but also play, but you're writing for others. Once you publish it, maybe find people who want to play it. Um, we're going to talk today about setting goals. So I hope you include that as goal, Jim, and then are able to implement that. So let's go ahead and get into it. That's what we're doing next. Part two is align your goals with your true self. Now we're going to talk about aligning your goals with your true self, and not just goals. We're not talking little goals here. We're talking about setting expansive goals, big goals that excite you. Aligning your goals with your true self, it sets you up for success. So it's good to have good habits. And yeah, this is a habits workshop, but you got to know where those habits are getting you. I mean, we could talk about, yes, reading and Audible and journaling and all those things are good, but you got to have an idea of where they're getting you. Who is the person you are trying to become by reading more or, listening to more books or journaling? You got to have an idea of who it is you're meant to be. And we'll get there shortly. When you set those goals, meaning you set those habits, are they aligned with your goals, your dreams, and your true self? If you want clarity in your life, like Alexander says, if you want to grow within, You need to know where you're headed. You need to set goals and you need to make them big. Where do you want to be in 10 years or in 20 years? And don't worry about where you are now. It doesn't really matter if you're 30 or 50 or 70 or 90. There's no end to what you can achieve at any age and at any point. But you have to think bigger. I mean, my dad's 82, will be 83 this year. Uh, and he's a physician. He's a pediatric radiologist. Used to work at the world-renowned St. Jude Children's Hospital. Now he works at another children's hospital. And he's 82. He still works 6 days a week. And we were talking the other day about, what he's going to do next. And I'm like, man, you may have another 20 plus years in you. You're so healthy and vibrant and keep going. I mean, he doesn't sound like an old guy at all. It's amazing. At 82, he could set 20-year goals. I mean, people are living 102, 3, 4, 5, 10. Don't worry where you are now. I mean, if you're 50, I mean, a friend of mine's 50 and she was like, stressing about, not being able to, accomplish stuff that she's at the end of her career. I'm like, what are you talking about? You may not even be half done yet, sister. Keep going. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? So there's no end to what you can achieve at any age and at any point. But you got to think bigger. What is your big inspired goal? What seems outrageous to others, but you know in your heart is what you need to do? That's your North Star. This is the direction you must head. Yeah, and there's also an issue as well that a lot of times we view the world where we are right now, not where we're going to be in the future. Are you the same person today that you were 10 years ago? Really, think about it. Like I'm 51. I think about where I was when I was 41. I mean, back then I had 2 kids. Now I have 7. My world's totally changed. I'm a totally different person than I was 10 years ago. I now do yoga and meditation and teach workshops to you. Then I was just a clean energy entrepreneur. Now I do some of those projects, but I'm a totally different person. We set goals though and plans as though we're going to be ourselves, but just a little bit older. But, like Marianne said, no, 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 like totally different person than you were 10 years ago. And when we set those goals, you got to recognize that you're going to be a totally different person in 10 years. So we want to talk about this concept of prospection. It's the ability to mentally represent and evaluate possible futures. It's a fundamental psychological skill that includes planning and imagining future scenarios. And when we envision future scenarios, we limit ourselves most of the time to what we know now. But as I said, there are no limits. Our goal in this workshop is to open our minds to think without limits. I'm a totally different person today than I was even 10 years ago. As a young lawyer, I worked myself so hard that I got multiple sclerosis. I woke up one morning, I couldn't feel my left foot. I couldn't write with my right hand, which is kind of essential, right? For or type. And a couple of years after that, a year and 2 years after, I lost sight in each of my eyes due to lesions of my optic nerves. But our body is miraculous, though, and heals itself when we care for it properly. And thank God, I've now gone almost 20 years without another flare-up. Now, I slowed down a little, but as a lawyer and then entrepreneur and young parent, I wasn't listening to that still small voice inside. I was just running in circles on the hamster wheel, hoping for things to get better. For years, I used to see sad eyes looking back at me when I looked in the mirror, wondering why I hadn't hit my potential. I knew I wasn't living as my true self. But in the summer of 2018, I have a complete awakening. I decide I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I decide to work on improving myself and start listening and growing again. Now, I've done intense study on personal growth and aligning our goals with our habits. And this 7-year journey has brought me to an extraordinary place and brought me to a place of deep personal alignment with my true self and allowed me to realize personal, professional, and spiritual growth. I mean, the spiritual growth may be the most profound, that I feel in touch with all that is all the time because I've taken the time to learn and to grow and to breathe. And once I saw the light in the mirror, meaning once I saw myself with love in the mirror instead of self-criticism, it dawned on me. I'm meant to inspire others. That's what my true self is meant to do. That's what that still small voice inside had been telling me for decades. And I used to try to numb it, with smoking weed or, staying up late. I wasn't living on purpose. Living as a lawyer and then clean energy entrepreneur isn't living as my true self. I'm not making enough impact every day. Writing books and inspiring you is my true calling. What is your true calling? For Jim, it's publishing his music. In the immortal words of Nelson Mandela, who lived fully through struggle and triumph, there is no passion in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. I want you to live an extraordinary life. You're capable of living an extraordinary life. I want you to live the life of your dreams, which you can do today by living as your true self. And yes, Dr. Harris, you'll definitely be able to watch this. We are going to make this all available to you. I said a little bit earlier before you jumped on. This is all going to be available. Don't feel like you got to write this down. We're going to send a recap that has the resources, the recording, and other information. Now listen, you can't live the extraordinary life of your dreams by playing small, by just going through the motions. Don't go through the motions at work. Make your motions work. We are here to set big goals and then create a clear plan to achieve those goals, followed by the habits that will make achieving those goals inevitable. It'll make your future come to life. That's how you're going to thrive in 2026. Be bold and be specific. Be bold and be specific. So we also want to talk about limiting our focus. So famous business strategist and author of the pinnacle business book, Good to Great, Jim Collins. He said, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none. So we're going to set no more than 3 big goals. Everyone is so scattered trying to do everything well that we give everything only our partial attention. I have a guy I was coaching who would send me, his goals, and it was like pages and pages in a Google Doc. And I'm like, when are you supposed to do all these things? Focus. No more than 3. Know what you're trying to do. It can't be everything. Everyone is so scattered trying to do everything well nowadays that we give everything only our partial attention and we're so distracted. So if you want to thrive in 26 and achieve big goals, you have to limit your focus and say no. Say no to a lot more. You've got to say no to folks. Don't get dragged into other people's dreams, or not even their dreams and goals, just the stuff they want to drag you into. So we created a way to make this. These are practices that I had put in place over the years, but really didn't have it systemized. So we created the True Self system. Some of you may have designed, picked it up on our website, but this system helps you refine your goals and then set daily habits that will make realizing those goals inevitable. So here's what I do. And I want you to try this, and we're going to walk you through some of this today, but I want you to go back and do this later as well. First, I envision a future version of myself, call it 10 years out in the future, who is happier, kinder, and wiser than I am now. Keep in mind, it's not me just 10 years older. Instead, it's the whole nother person that I'm going to be 10 years from now. I meditate on meeting that person. I spend time with that person in my visualization. We're going to do this in a few minutes. I ask him questions. He lets me know what he's accomplished. This is how you live the life of your dreams, by living on purpose, seeing what your purpose really is. Don't ask me, look inside. So I do that, and then I journal about meeting my future self. And I usually do this, for 30 minutes to an hour. I may even do this multiple times. I then write a letter for my future self, meaning myself 10 years from now, or even 4 years from now, to my current self, to myself today. And it's usually filled with grace, encouragement, and pride. I did this a few years ago. I still have it sitting on my desk at home, and it really is just incredible because it makes you realize where you are today, that you're doing much better than you give yourself credit for. Now, I then imagine meeting myself in less time, in 3 years from now, on my way to that big future I had envisioned. I choose 3 years out because it's far enough for substantial change to occur. But it's not so far that you can't clearly imagine it. I mean, most of us say, okay, it's 26. We got all of 27 and 28. Where am I going to be at the end of 2028? It's not too far away. I then fill out my true goals worksheet, which we're going to provide to you. And according to that vision, and it breaks your goals down from big ideas, meaning big long-term goals, down into annual, quarterly, and monthly goals. And then you break those down into tiny steps you can accomplish every day, your habits. So we're going to make the Habitually Inspired Habit Tracker available to you too. I post my goals at my desk and on the mirror in my bathrooms. And that way I'm reminded of them constantly. And I stay on point. And I don't get distracted. Not to say that things don't come up. I mean, I'm going to describe some of that for you shortly. So we're going to share these with you when you get the recap. But you want to make your goals big and simple. You want to take away all the nonsense that wastes your day. And it's a ton. There's a ton of stuff you don't need to get dragged into every day. You want to get rid of all the distractions and focus in on your goals. Eliminate the noise, as Alexander says. You want to get ready to climb higher than you ever have before because it's your time to thrive. Now, I want you to take a few minutes. This is a great, meaningful exercise. You can do it now, but I also want you to do this after we meet today. I want you to go meet your future self, yourself 10 years from now, fully alive, successful, peaceful, accomplishing all the things that you hope to accomplish. I want you to close your eyes like we did when we started. I want you to breathe through your nose and just notice the breath. Calmly settle in, only noticing your breath. As you notice the breath, I want you to think about going to your happy place or your power place. Maybe it's the top of a mountain, or maybe it's the beach. Maybe it's just your backyard. Somewhere where you feel happy and at peace and like the strongest, most powerful version of yourself, undistracted. Once you're there, I want you to imagine meeting your future self, yourself 10 years from now. How does this person appear? Bold, confident, successful. They've made peace with all that's held them back in the past. Ask them questions. Ask them how they spend their days. This is your true self. This is your purpose in life. To live unbridled by all the nonsense that's held you back in the past, meet your future self here. Spend a few minutes getting to know your true self. Ask them to share their wisdom with you. Enjoy this time with your true self. Call you back in a few minutes. Go. Spend time with who you're meant to be. Spend another 30 seconds or so thanking your future self for spending some time with you. Get any additional wisdom you can gain. All right, begin to flutter your eyes a little bit, becoming fully present again. Hopefully, everyone took that time for themselves. And again, this is just a brief glimpse. I usually do this exercise for 30 minutes or so at the beginning of the year. I do it other times as well. I've done it a few times. It's incredibly impactful. I encourage you, strongly encourage you to do this, spend some time. If you don't meditate, just sit somewhere quietly, close your eyes or drop your gaze down low and visualize meeting your future self. It is who you're meant to be. When people say, "What is my purpose?" It's within you. It is within you, and you already know. So take out your journal now and journal, what did your future self show you? What wisdom did your future self show you? And then I want you to write down 3 big goals that align with your true self. What are 3 big goals? It can be short term, long term. What are 3 goals that align with that version of yourself that you just met, that help you become that person? And Alexander, if you can't see that person, you can also shorten it. Look out 3 years. But if you're able to spend some time just focusing on the breath and envisioning meeting that person, you should be able to see them. And if not, you can also do the practice of just writing the letter from yourself 10 years from now to yourself now. And that may be useful. So take about, 3 minutes right now to journal, what did your true self show you? And what are 3 big goals that align with your true self? And take, 3 or 4 minutes now to do this, but I do want you to try to do this after the workshop as well. You want to spend a decent amount of time doing this. And if it helps frame it as well, you can look at, what are 3 big goals, or call it three-year goals that align with your true self, that help you become the person that you're meant to be. All right, just take another few seconds and journaling that and coming up with your big goals. And you're going to see in a moment how we start aligning these big goals with our habits. That version of you that you just met, confident and calm, clear, they're not that far away, but they live on the other side of clarity and aligned habits. And the truth is, you don't think your way into becoming your true self. You have to experience your way into it. That's why your habits are so important. They're how you make sure you're living as your true self. And we say habits, not just goals, because we're going to get to the habits in a few minutes. The habits are the daily rituals that help you become your true self. They help you achieve your goals. Becoming your true self and living your life on purpose can take years or even decades. Sadly, most people never even get there. Aligned habits shape your identity over time, which is why we created the True Self Project. It's a 30-day habit challenge. I know a couple of you on today have already, signed up for the True Self Project. It's just a 1 month experience each day for 30 days where you're immersed in actions that help make a habit of living as your true self so that you can live as your true self in just 1 month instead of taking a lifetime. Or like a lot of people never even getting there. We'll talk about this more at the end, but just know that it's real and it's coming for you. It's there if you want it to be a part of your life. And if you want to share, love for you to share. I mean, Jim's got get to sleep and get up early and regularly, and we have habits that are going to help you get there. Caring for your health properly, focus on publishing, music, books, artwork, etc. You got to get that out into the world. It's time. If anyone else wants to share, by all means, put there. Um, yeah, get those taxes done. As soon as you get your taxes done, Marianne, you can start living as your true self. Uh, so hopefully soon, I'll be excited to help you. And like I said, I'm also happy to do a coaching session once you get into it as well. Next, we want to talk about building habits that reinforce your true self. So we talked about the process of going through living as your true self and understanding what your purpose is. And then we talk about setting big goals. And when you get the True Goals worksheet, I want you to boil those down into annual, quarterly, and monthly goals. But now we're going to turn your vision into repeatable, grounded action, meaning your vision for your true self. We're going to turn that into action, your habits, which your habits are just your daily practice of becoming your true self. When I began the regular practice of meditating and journaling 8 years ago, honestly, it felt difficult and awkward at first. And I don't know why it felt awkward. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I was worried that my wife and kids would walk in on me meditating and thinking, yeah, like, what's this crazy guy doing here? Sitting in the lotus position. I don't know. Getting into things that we're not used to doing, having someone seeing you while your eyes are closed and deep in thought, it shouldn't feel awkward. I mean, we go to, church or temple. We sit with our eyes closed and pray. Like, why is it awkward to sit and meditate and someone, might see you? But anyway, the point is, I stuck with it and it became natural, heartfelt, and habitual. And now it's a part of my daily life. And now, if a kid walks in and sees me meditating, now I usually get up and meditate at 5 a.m. before anyone else is up. But if they do come in, I'm like, come here, come join me. And like one of my little kids will sit on my lap and then close their eyes with me. And I make, that and breathing a part of their life as well. But habits, both good and bad, are hard to break. And heaven knows, I've had my bad habits like smoking, using weed, staying up too late. I mean, some of the things we've talked about today. But it's a lot easier to break bad habits when you have good habits and positive reinforcement to replace them. In the words of Aristotle, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. If you want to be excellent, if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to live the extraordinary life that you're capable of, like Nelson Mandela said, then make it a habit. It's not about just, I'm trying to get to this one big thing. And once I get there, I'll be happy or I'll be myself or I will have shown, the world or my wife or my parents or whoever that I've achieved what I meant to achieve. No, it's a daily habit. The Oracle of Omaha, or Warren Buffett, said, how do you put it? Chains of habit are too hard. Uh, Chains of habit are too heavy to be felt until something like they're too heavy to be broken. It's close. I'll find it and I'll get it to you. Or maybe Chad, you can look that up. Chains of habit are too heavy to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken, or something like that. The point is, when we create those habits, we don't break them because we've made them a part of our lives. Positive habits are the key to making your dreams and your goals real. To get into a routine of positive habits, it's worthwhile to track your habits. There's a saying by Peter Drucker people quote regularly. He was a management theorist and guru. He said, measure and track. He said, you can't improve what you don't measure. You can't improve what you don't measure. So we want to measure these things that we want to improve. You want to track that which you want to improve. So don't wait for your future to happen. That person that you envision, who you're meant to be, you want to start being the person you're meant to be now. You're not waiting to get to some future goal. You're going to start being that person now. And it doesn't have to be profound or difficult. You can make it simple. I mean, the habitually inspired habit tracker that we created is simply a way of tracking up to 10 daily habits. So here are the habits that I'm currently tracking each day. And I will say, this is from August. I've modified them a little bit. This is just an example we put up for you. Um, but sleep by 10, wake by 5, meditate, journal, hour of flow. I'm now at like 90 minutes of flow on my top priority before noon. Read a spiritual book, read the Tao Te Ching, 30 to consume 30 to 60 minutes of quality content, exercise or yoga, and PM journal. Describe the evening journal in just a little bit. But that's where you journal your big three, your wins for the day, how you want to show up the next day, and your big three priorities for the next day. Again, never more than three, right? If you have more than three priorities, you have none. Thanks for putting that in there, Chad. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. You don't really feel it at first, and then it's too heavy to stop. So you also want to make sure these are aligned with your goals. So we also have goals in there, our annual, quarterly, and monthly goals. The chart's just broken out by week. You just write down habits that you want to work on, practice, or improve that will help you hit your personal, professional, and spiritual goals. Things that help you improve your mind, your body, and your spirit. That help you become your true self. Become the type of person who would achieve those goals. Maybe you want to track progress on a work goal or a fitness goal. I lost over 30 pounds from tracking my intermittent fasting. For now, let's just focus on what you want to improve and start tracking it. Try to make those habits that will help you achieve your three big goals. And the habit tracker is a great way to do it, either paper or digitally. But I do want to make the note, if you're tracking this digitally, try not to use your phone or screen or anything for the first hour of the day. Connect with yourself before you connect with anything else. I've been tracking daily habits for almost 6 years now. And again, that Aristotle quote, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. That's why we're focusing on habits to hit goals. That's why this is the Aligned Habits Workshop. It's not just the set big goals and then never achieve them workshop. Now, look, the habit tracker, it may change slightly from quarter to quarter or month to month, and mine changes based on what I'm working on or trying to improve. For example, I used to wake up and meditate, from about 5 to 6:30. But last year when I was working on my first book, Light in the Mirror, I added right from 5:30 to 7 as my first activity of the day when there are no distractions and my brain is in the right state. And this habit helped me hit the goal of writing my book in 6 months because I did it every morning and I tracked it. I made that commitment to myself and I hit my goals. And I replaced another routine with that routine. Actually, speaking of routine, we actually call them rituals. We have a great new workshop that we've done called, the Epic Daily Ritual Workshop, where we talk in more detail on epic evening and morning routines, rituals. Routines are just things you go through. Rituals are something sacred. So I hope you can join us for one of those. We're probably doing that maybe in like 3 weeks. Let me check. Give me a second. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the last week of February, the 26th. Yep, we're going to do the Epic Daily Ritual Workshop on the 26th. So if you want to join that, yeah, thanks for putting that in there. Oh, and there's a link for it as well. Awesome. Thanks, Chad. Now, do I get to every single habit every single day? Sadly, no. Life gets in the way and I miss one or two or more of these habits, but on the days when I'm at my best, I hit them all. And those days become far more frequent the longer I track my habits. I make time for them. I make sure I do these like my life depends on it. And my future self does depend on it. I can't reach my goals if I'm not doing these habits. And as I go along, I have more days at my best and I hit them all more often. Like Peter Drucker said, that which is being measured is actually improving. Now we get thrown off, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Don't be discouraged if you miss some of the habits, and don't beat yourself up. It's not a test. We'll get to that in a little bit, but just track what works best for you. Look at the goals you're setting, that version of you that you envisioned, your future self. Make those habits that allow you to be that person. What does that person do every day that you're not doing now? See what you need to do to hit those goals and make those your daily habits. You journaled about this vision of yourself in 10 years. What does that person do each day that you aren't doing now? Pick those things and be that person now by practicing each day. You don't just wake up one day and you're this amazing person. You practice each day to become that person, and you get there much more quickly when you practice being that person. My life is improving each day because I'm tracking that which matters most to me. And I'm holding myself accountable by tracking it. I'm living as my true self. You want to start living like, dressing like, and being like that person you envisioned. It's you, but it's different. It's the person you're meant to be. You're going to start becoming that person if you do what that person does. So the question is, who do you want to become? And even more importantly, perhaps, are you fired up to be that person? Jim Rohn said, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Motivation is what gets you started. You got to get motivated to start, but habit is what keeps you going. We're here to live aligned, to set big goals that energize us for the future. But this time, we're going to accomplish those goals because we're going to put habits in place that make achieving those goals inevitable. So now I want you to just take a couple minutes here. And I want you to write down 5 to 10 habits that will help you achieve your big goals that you wrote earlier. So at the end of the last section, after envisioning your true self, you wrote down 3 big goals that align with that vision of your true self. What are 5 to 10 habits that will help you achieve those big goals? They don't necessarily have to be directly correlated. Like, Jim, you want to publish your music, maybe write some more. You don't necessarily have to have right every day, although that's a good one. But what are the habits that you put in place that help you become the type of person that achieves those goals? Just take, maybe 3 minutes right here, right? 5 to 10 habits that'll help you achieve your big goals. All right, let's just take a couple more seconds in here. And again, this is just the exercise to get you thinking about your habits, but we are going to provide the habit tracker to you. I think we already gave you the link there for it earlier, but um, this is just to get you thinking about it and then start using the habit tracker to get your habits down and start using them every day. And that'll get you to be the person you're meant to be. Now we have the link there to the website that has the habit tracker there with the true self system. And next I want to talk to you about overcoming setbacks and building resilience so that nothing can stop you. Even when things don't go right, nothing can stop you. Yeah, and Dr. Harris, we will definitely be sending you that habit tracker. There's a link there, but also it'll be available in the email follow-up we do to this workshop. So we will have that for you. Look, when you set aligned habits, and actually we just put one in there. So there you go. When you set aligned goals and you build the habits to match, you're not just chasing results. This isn't about getting more productive or doing more stuff. You're becoming someone new. When you take a risk and you listen to your inner voice and pursue a path, it's not about whether you get to the end goal. There will always be twists and turns. There will always be things that come up. I mean, I've had just an absolutely crazy last year with all kinds of things coming up. We just adopted my two goddaughters. And, you know, overnight a couple of weeks ago, we went from having, five kids to having seven kids. Now I have two teenage daughters that I didn't have a few weeks ago. Uh, I mean, life gets in the way. I was way off my routine. I mean, I was having to, deal with attorneys and judges and Department of Social Services and stuff because they were taken into foster care. And I immediately rushed to North Carolina to get them out of foster care and placed with us. And, it took about a little over a month. We did it in lightning speed. Um, and, it was right before the holidays, and I wasn't going to let them spend Christmas sitting in foster care. It got me way off my routines. And a few months ago, before that, around Memorial Day weekend, my wife ruptured her Achilles. And all my goals and all my habits, got thrown to the wind immediately because all of a sudden she couldn't walk. She was bedridden for about 6 weeks. She had to have surgery, and everything ground to a halt. I was taking care of her plus our five kids, and I was down a wife and taking care of my wife, and I was packing all the lunches and taking the shuttle for our five kids, and yeah, it was just absolutely nuts. And the point is, when you're working on your goals, I mean, all my goals and everything ground to a halt for a few weeks until my wife started to get better and went from wheelchair to crutches to boot to being able to drive again. And slowly things got back to some normalcy. The point is, there are always twists and turns, but it's about who you become in the process. And when you set big, huge, inspired goals, even if you fall short, or it takes a little bit longer, you end up much further ahead than you were before. And as also, you have somewhere to land as soon as things get normalized. You know where to go. Tracking your habits isn't a test. Setting your goals isn't a test. You're not graded. You're not competing against others. You're keeping track so you can improve. And some weeks won't be as strong as others. But if you want to live in bliss, then keep tracking and keep improving. Keep living as your true self and do what you have to do to become that person. Now, it's not always perfect, but the more you work at it and trust your true self as your guide, the more you stick to your healthy habits and come back to your true self. No matter how busy you are, you never are too busy or too distracted to take 2 seconds to just look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. You got to keep going even when you don't feel it. In fact, when you don't feel it is the perfect time to reset. When life knocks you off, get back up. Like Jim said, shoot for the stars, you may hit the moon. When your computer isn't working properly, you reboot. When things aren't going well in life and you're off your game, reboot. Reboot yourself. You do this by going back to your goals and habits, and you begin again. That is your reboot. This brings you back to your true self. It reminds you of that person you met, of your true self, of your higher power beckoning you into your future. It brings you back towards accelerating to your big goals. Your habits keep you going and help you get back to who you're meant to be. When a challenge, a tragedy, or even just a bad day knocks you off track, get back to tracking your habits and find your alignment with your true self again. So, after I got through all the, flights and court battles and dealing with all the stuff to get custody of the girls, I knew where to go. When my wife was sick or, her injured, and after having surgery, as soon as I got through those challenges, I knew exactly where to go. I had my habits and my goals to get back to. I'm looking for it here, right here on my desk, is my habit tracker. I use the same one I give you. That's why I share it with you, because it works. When you get knocked off, you get back up, you know where to go. Oh, that's where I was. My goals are on there, my habits are on there. Instead of sinking into a downward spiral and going, oh, things have been way off, the last few months. I guess I'm just going to let it go. I guess my goals didn't work out. No, you get back up and you get back on. Get back to tracking your habits and you find alignment with your true self again. Now, we're going to close in just a minute. But before we close, I just want to know what's one small action that you're going to take in the next 24 hours to move toward your true self? What's one small action you will take in the next 24 hours to move towards your true self? And I know I got one too. Yeah, I'm going to update my habit tracker and my goal sheet because, like I said, the last couple of weeks have been kind of crazy. I didn't even include, that we're listing our house for sale later this week. We, moved from New Jersey to Vermont. And yeah, I mean, it's so much happening at once. And I just thank God I've been given the opportunity to handle so much for so many. And it's kind of overwhelming at times. But instead of looking at, this is happening to me, I say, this is happening for me. This is happening for me, not to me. And I've got my goals and my habits to get back. Now, it's time to climb into that shuttle on the launch pad. It's time for you to skyrocket into space. Staring at the stars is inspiring, but it's not going to make you an astronaut. It's time to actually launch. But the voyage only begins through the decision to climb aboard and soar to your destination. It's painful not being who you're meant to be. It's painful knowing you could be that person you see in your mind, and it seems like it's either impossible or taking forever to get there. But it doesn't have to be painful. These are choices. This is your life to choose. My daughter was complaining about going to school this morning. My newly adopted 15-year-old daughter. And I said to her, it's your choice. You can either be the type of person that wakes up and says, good morning, God, or good God, morning. You choose. I told her about how I start each day, but as soon as my feet hit the floor, I say to myself, it's going to be an amazing day. I don't look at the phone for the first hour I'm awake. It's your life to choose. You can either continue to go through the motions at work, or you can make your motions work. You can stay in the harbor and stare at the sea, or you can cross the ocean. You can stay in that same painful job, Alexandra, or you can create the career that you want. You can stare at the phone, or you can play with your kids. You can busy yourself on social media, or you can make real progress on your goal. You can publish your music, Jim, or you can keep it bottled inside. These are all choices. Some of these are tough choices, but they're all yours and yours alone to make. I love this quote by Elizabeth Appel about becoming who you're meant to be. She said, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk that it took to blossom. Your life is only created by you. And we all create our own reality by our mindset and the choices we make. You can choose to live a life of happiness and bliss by deciding to do so. But staying tight in your bud is far more painful than the risk it will take for you to blossom. At any stage in life, this holds true. It's never too late to be who you're meant to be. Be honest with yourself. Are you living the life you are meant to live? Are you achieving the one thing that inspires you the most? If not, it's time to blossom. It's time to live life inspired. You're capable of living an extraordinary life. Make it big, like Nelson Mandela said. There's no passion in playing small, in settling for the life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Do not play small. Do not settle. You know what you're capable of. You just need to get it out of your head, down on paper, and then take action every morning to get you closer to who you're capable of being. But it can't be small. You won't take any action if you have a small goal because it doesn't matter all that much. As Les Brown put it, most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. Don't aim for those low targets in life, accomplished by menial tasks. Aim high in life and love and work. You're meant to live an extraordinary life. If you invest in yourself and start what was recommended today, you will find true freedom and happiness. So you can make excuses or you can awake with intention. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And then implement the steps prescribed here today to return to your true self and be the person you are meant to be. The journey isn't always smooth, and roadblocks always pop up unexpectedly. But the tools provided today help make the journey smoother and get you around the roadblocks even faster. Those that love you will be there for you, regardless of what you choose. I love you and will be there for you on your journey as you climb up the mountain. I'm always happy to help guide you up as you climb to meet your true self. So as your feet hit the floor tomorrow morning, simply to say to yourself, it's going to be an amazing day. Walk into the bathroom, step in front of that mirror, lock eyes with yourself, and say, I love you. And then go spread that light out into the world. The world needs your light to shine brightly now more than ever. As you awake with intention, with your goals set and your habits aligned, put down the phone. Turn off the negative news and just listen to that still small voice inside. Find some stillness. Listen to yourself and your higher power, and then write down what you hear. But don't wait. Turn what you wrote down into action you can take today to live the life of your dreams, to be the person you are meant to be, to live your life of love, happiness, and bliss. Now, what you learned today is a solid foundation for living as your true self, but truly living focused and free takes practice and consistency. And like I said, you got to practice. That's why we created this True Self Project, this 30-day habit challenge. It's just a 30-day on-demand course where I recorded a video from like July through November. I recorded all these videos to help people to live as their true selves. And you turn these lessons that you learned today into a daily practice. We just shot, 5 to maybe 15-minute videos and some journal prompts and exercises, kind of like you did today. You turn it into a daily practice to start living confidently, undistracted as your true self in only a month than rather the years that it took me. The true self is just, we made it so anyone can access it. It's only $1 a day, a powerful transformation and alignment. And, I've offered this before. We were only going to do it initially in January, but I'm willing to keep doing it because I want to share this with as many people as possible. I will offer a free one-on-one coaching session during this challenge to help you stay on track. So for those of you who sign up for it, I will do this a free one-on-one coaching session. I would say start the True Self Project and, another day another week or two into it, or maybe even once you finish it, reach out and I will help you implement and I will help inspire you to achieve what you have done in those. Now, we have a little bit of homework. So if you haven't signed up yet, sign up for that. We did put a coupon code in there, TSP5 off. That's for $5 off. Hopefully that's working. Someone had said that it wasn't, but use that. But just search my name, follow us on social media. I'm always putting up, new videos, some of these courses, some of the workshops, some meditations. I promise you I will work on some more short form content as well. That's I've been one of my goals that I got distracted from early in the year, and I will get back on that. So I have new content to help inspire you. Now, you do have a little bit of homework, and I this shouldn't come as a surprise because I told you this while we were doing the workshop, but take at least 15 minutes to imagine meeting yourself in the future. Go back and do that meditation of meeting yourself 10 years in the future. How do you look? How do you carry yourself? What have you accomplished? What wisdom do you have to share with yourself? So do that meditation, journal about it afterwards, and then do what I said. Write the letter from your future self. Alexander, if that wasn't working for you, the meditation, try writing a letter from your future self. Take a while, block 30 minutes, an hour, and just sit down to write a letter from yourself in 10 years to yourself today. And keep it and refer back to it. I've gone back and looked at mine. It allows me to see the vision I have for myself. It allows me to see my purpose and what I want for myself and my family. Now, I'm happy to stay on for a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, wants any feedback, any guidance on setting goals or how to work with the True Self Project, like I said, I promise you we'll be launching another course later in the year. Oh, thank you for putting that slide up. Come to happy hour. We started doing this. We used to do this at our company years ago. And we started doing this for our Inspiration Nation community. It's been really, really impactful. Yeah, tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I've told folks before, maybe next week we'll change it, but we're going to start doing this. I think probably at 12:30. Yeah, come to the community happy hour. You don't necessarily have to sign up. I think you can, but when you follow that link that we put there in the chat, you can join us for that. Totally free. We don't want anything. We're not selling anything. It's just a great way to end our week, reflecting on what we've accomplished this week, talking about what we're looking forward to on the weekend, and setting our intention and our goals for next week. It's a way that we help each other, support each other in achieving what we want to achieve, but also just having some fun together and sharing some food for thought as well. So really love doing these. It's been a lot of fun. We've had more people each week. So hopefully you can join us. I know Marianne and Alexandra have been on, and Chad, I appreciate you guys coming on and being on. And if any of you want to join, love to have you there. All right. So that's basically a wrap for this workshop. If you have any questions, I'm happy to stay on. If you want to type them on the chat or, come on camera and ask live, take yourself off mute. Happy to stay on for a minute. If not, we can call it. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, join us for happy hour tomorrow. All right. Well, don't see any questions. If you do have questions, I'll hang on another minute. You can raise your hand or put some in the chat. If not, I hope to see you at happy hour tomorrow. Thank you all so much for being here. Bless you all. Keep striving. Keep working on being inspired. Make sure you're living as your true self and you're aligning your habits with your true self. Bless you all. Be well and hope to see you tomorrow. You're very welcome. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Dr. Harrison. And thank you guys for sharing as well. Everyone being honest and doing the work that it takes to live inspired and live aligned with our habits and our goals. You're welcome, as always, Alexander. All right. Be well, everyone. Have a great afternoon.